All right, this is Devin Hasenflue again. We're over here now at EVANS Drumheads production. Every single EVANS-made drumhead comes out of this facility behind us here. You'll see every process from hoop forming, film cutting, shaping our level 360 collars, and then finally assembly printing, and even some cool custom printing opportunities we have here at EVANS Drumheads. Here at EVANS, we offer a custom drumhead program where we can pretty much print the majority of any design that you would really want, either your band's logo, your marching group's logo, wedding celebration, anniversaries, whatever you really want. We can essentially print it here. But besides that, we also print some of our technologies here. So here you'll see the System Blue tenor heads are being printed right now. On the underside of the film, we print a gradient design that denotes kind of the striking zone for your tenors. But it's similar technology is derived from our EC2 heads. So here's an EC head kind of still in process, but the bottom side features layers of this ink known as our sound shaping technology that gives it a little bit of that damping, a nice control. Very similar to a G2, but just kind of controlling a bit of those overtones over time. And of course you have some custom designs here, which you may recognize and may see on tour in a few months shortly. We have basically two of these setups here and are able to kind of just get a lot of things streamlined up, and with the consistency of digital printing, it allows us to do things in mass very, very consistently over time. So these were custom printed on that printer that you see there. These are some of our MX marching heads. And what we do with our marching designs is we actually, on top of the artwork, we put a very thin 3mm overlay, kind of similar to a snare side head. And that protects the artwork because these things are constantly getting beat up and beat up. So we want to make sure the integrity of your design is remaining on the field. And plus they get a nice little reflection in the light on a nice sunny day in competition. At EVANS, we actually form all of our hoops in-house. So you can see here we have this aluminum kind of ribbon stock that goes through a proprietary cold rolling process. We use a cold rolling process to make sure that the strength of the aluminum is not compromised. And then from there, they go back to our soldering stations to make sure that they're perfectly nice and round and ready to go. One thing that sets EVANS apart is that on the inside of the collar, there's a little bend over that once the glue is applied to the inside channel of this hoop, that is not going to tear out. So it kind of just creates like a little bit of a bite to make sure that under high tensions that your drum head is not going to tear out of this flesh hoop here. So all these are made on site here. We have multiple lines, and this includes bass drum sizes, and we also do some crimping operation here as well for marching, and then also timpani. In concert bass, which has a bit of a different profile. All the main DNA is still captured across all the EVANS drum heads with this design. So we're back here in the material cutting area. So normally this machine is running different sheets of film. So we keep all of our film stored back over this way in these large 68-inch rolls. But at this point, we're actually cutting our sound-off mutes at the same material. So we receive this in a roll, and this machine here is just cutting a perfect circle to be applied on the top of your drumhead surface to make sure that you're getting nice quiet practice and not, killing your neighbors or your family members in the house. But again, this same machine is going to be used to cut all of our films across all of our drum heads to make sure you're getting a nice perfect round piece to work with before it hits the molds and then into gluing. So that's all done here. So any of these synthetic fiber materials we have to laser cut because of how strong that material is. It'll kind of ruin our tooling, and in some cases won't even cut through it. So this is our pipe band material that's got basically a nice Kevlar-like material weave and then laminated right up here on the top surface with a film to make sure you get that nice crisp attack. So anything that is of that synthetic fiber is laser cut here, along with any thick films such as our conga heads and our bongo heads are all done here as well. And you can see some of that scrap material here and how thick this stuff is. So yeah. So now we got to take that cut film circle and form the level 360 collar. So all of these molds behind me here create that perfectly nice kind of round shaped collar here. This perfect dish across the film. And what this also does, increase these little ridges for our epoxy to really kind of get nice and bitten into to ensure that this film is not tearing out of that flesh hoop. So once these are done here, the operator, they'll take it and they'll apply it into the hoop themselves by hand, and then they all get glued in this cell here. So we're getting a perfectly controlled amount of glue per drum head, and essentially this is a heated conveyor, or like an elevator really more than anything. And at this point, it's heated, so it allows for the epoxy to cure. So now, this comes in, and at this point you have a fully functional drum head. So now we got to apply the logo to the head. So in this case, as you saw earlier with our EC2 series, the logo is applied on the printer. So what we're essentially doing here is putting these in line so that we can print the barcode information on the hoop. So if you want to come right up over here, you'll be able to see there's a little computer printer that comes in and pops in the UPC code along with a batch code, so we know when this head was made, which shift, and which item it's going into. So in this case, this looks to be about our 10-inch EC2S tom head. But of course, we have different item numbers for tom packs and different assortments, so all of that is printed here. But in the event that say a G1 is printed on this line, that little pad printer over there would apply the logo to the top surface of the drum head. All right, so we're over here at our spray coating cell. So all of our coated heads, besides our UV coating, are all done with this process over here. So at this point, the head is a uncoated head. The collar is formed, it's glued into the flesh hoop here, but now we have to apply our coating. So what we do in this process here is there's a conveyor belt that comes on over here, and essentially the head is spinning. And once it comes down the conveyor belt, there's a track of an airbrush that comes out and applies our coating to the top surface. So what you end up with here is a perfectly coated surface across the entire head. Nice and even coating that's perfect for brush work. And over time it'll wear nicely, and it has quite a good durability over time. Whereas our UV coating, of course, being our most durable. But all the white coated heads, our frosted heads, and our strata heads all go through this same process. And of course, it takes time for them to dry. They have to go on drying racks, and we also have some ovens back here that help cure that coating to make sure it's nice and firmly bonded to the film. So this is our traditional spray coating. In the spirit of innovation, we wanted to improve coating. So a number of years ago, the team developed a UV cured coating process, which makes the coating about 30% more durable compared to a traditional spray coat. It also allows us to control the surface texture of the top playing surface to make sure you get really, really great, nice and even brush strokes, and just great overall durability. Offered in UV1 and UV2 configurations, so single ply and two ply. And essentially what we're doing here is similar to a screen printing process that comes in with the flat film, and you can see this edge right here is uncoated. That's because we can get a perfectly nice clear 360 edge across that coating, comes down the conveyor, down through a UV lamp, and at that point it is dry. So all we have to do then is go back to film forming and to pop it into here and glue it in, print the logo, and you have a fully functioning UV2 drum head. I would like to thank the Steve Weiss team for coming down and hanging out with us today. Again, we saw ProMark mallets, a little bit of Pure Sound snare wires, Real Feel practice pads, and all the amazing EVANS drum heads manufactured here in our facility in Farmingdale. And if you want to learn more about our products, please visit SteveWeissMusic.com and view our selection. Thanks.